No one would argue with the fact that Blade is a genius coach and one of the brightest minds of Counter-Strike. Andre has trained many of today's superstars and led 2 different lineups to victory at majors. Recently, NAVI won a big tournament, EWC, and for the first time in CS2, climbed their way up to first place in HLTV rankings. And most importantly, they did it without Simple.
Filling the feed, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen! NAVI reign supreme at the Esports World Cup.
Take a look at each NAVI player. How did they get to where they are today? Alexi B upset the European Tier 1 scene, and no one except for Blade wanted to sign him. Ema and JL showed good results at the major, but were basically Tier 2 players when they received their offer from Andre. The 18-year-old Wonderful played for Sprout, which couldn't even establish itself as a top 40 HLTV team. And Bit is indebted to Andre for his promotion to NAVI's main roster. In short, NAVI isn't just a team that Blade coaches, it's his brainchild, with whom he's achieving outstanding results for the second time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because you're watching CYBERSHOKE, and today we'll talk about how Blade helped 2 different lineups become world champions. Hey guys, we're seriously considering making a long biographical video about Blade's career, and today's material is sort of a test drive. If you want to see a full biography about Andre on the channel, please let us know in the comments. Let's recall how Blade joined NAVI in the first place, and what their form was like at the time. Andre signed a contract with the organization in March of 2019, not as a coach, but as an esports director. Blade did a lot of operational work for all of NAVI's Counter-Strike lineups. For example, he helped with the organization of boot camps, transfers, and player tests. But it's important to note that Andre was in a managerial position and not involved with the coaching process at all. At the time, the team was in a very questionable spot. On the one hand, NAVI was still a Tier 1 team, but on the other, they were really unstable. The synergy between the players was gone. There were more conflicts, and Flamey was playing his last years on the big scene. Later, Blade even admitted that he didn't have much faith in that lineup. He didn't believe that the 5 of them would possibly win a major, but as an esports director, he couldn't fully impose his vision of Counter-Strike. All he could do was create a comfortable environment and offer advice, though it wasn't always taken. In September of that same year, Zeus and Kane left NAVI, and the organization quickly promoted Blade to coach. Now he had Simple and Electronic, superstars who struck fear into any opponent, B1AD3, who was still finding his footing as a Tier 1 captain, Guardian, who was struggling with poor form, and Flamey, whose decline had just begun but was already noticeable. Blade liked that the players were actually listening to him, and he said that he missed that atmosphere. But fate would have its own plans, and so it happened that over the course of the following year and a half, NAVI made 2 substitutions under Andre's leadership. First to leave was Guardian. In his place, the organization signed Ilya Perfecto. Blade scouted Ilya at the top 30 HLTV level, and the transfer was a big promotion for the player. His name was so unfamiliar to the audience that in the first few days, his Instagram account gained 100,000 new subscribers. The second change was the promotion of Bit from the Academy team to replace Flamey. At first, NAVI tried to use a lineup with 6 players, but it soon became clear that that system wasn't very effective. So then, NAVI consisted fully of players either found or trained by Blade. See for yourself. Blade and Simple played together in 2014, and Andre taught him a lot. Electronic also reached a really high level thanks to Blade, who invited him to Flipside a few years back. Perfecto got to Tier 1 for the first time solely because of Blade's invite, and Bit had been on Blade's radar since the qualifiers for the NAVI esports camp. The only player who didn't owe his Tier 1 career to Blade was B1AD3, but he adapted so well to Andre's system that he only called plays as the coach instructed.
Вообще, как будто бы я был колер, который колет только то, что хочет Андрей.
Вот, как раз-таки, у тебя это все-таки не слух, что вы были как шахматные фигурки, и он играл в шахматы.
Ну, было, можно так сказать, да, наверное.
In the spring of 2021, the NAVI roster was finally assembled. Each of the players had gone through Blade's school, and miraculously, after just a few months, the team was number 1 in HLTV rankings. For the first time in its history with CSGO, NAVI started its own era by winning the Intel Grand Slam and, most importantly, becoming a major champion. But in the summer of 2023, NAVI faced a massive problem. B1AD3 was long gone, and it was difficult to find a replacement. The team was starting to get unstable again, and it resulted in the departure of 3 more players. When only Simple and Bit were left in the active roster, NAVI's management made the difficult yet necessary decision to make NAVI not a CIS lineup, but a European one which communicated in English. The task of choosing new players fell on Blade's shoulders. He recalls that it was a long and difficult process. It was important for Andre to play with each candidate for several days and only then make a final decision. As a result, NAVI didn't have any matches for a month and a half. And then finally, the new players were JL, Ema, and Alexi B. Blade didn't praise the new players like most organizations do. He bluntly said that he found the boys on Tier 2 and even Tier 3 because he was looking for those with whom he was comfortable working. Andre openly stated that with the addition of these newbies, the team's level had dropped significantly, and it wasn't really about lack of experience, but about the lack of knowledge. The most surprising addition was the Finnish IGL, Alexi B. His signing was so unexpected for NAVI fans that we even made a video about it, where we tried to figure out why Blade believed in this IGL, who had a KD of only 0.86 and who was also kicked from all his previous teams. But the answer was simple. Andre didn't need a promising rifler, but an experienced IGL who could transmit his vision of the game to the team during matches. Essentially, Alexi B wasn't an independent leader, but Blade's instrument, and everyone knew that. It's no secret to anyone that NAVI was very reliant on Simple's playstyle. Many of their strats were that Sasha would run to a certain part of the map and get a kill, and his teammates would finish the round based on the situation. And Blade didn't deny it. The situation changed though when Simple decided to take a break upon the release of CS2. NAVI, who were used to playing with Sasha, were all of a sudden left without their main playmaker, and the question of who's going to replace him wasn't even discussed, because it's clear to everyone that he really is an irreplaceable player. Here's what Blade said about it. "Many other teams don't have their own Simple, and they somehow survive. I accepted the fact that now we have to be like them, find our own path that doesn't include Simple, and gradually build it up." Blade decided to replace Simple with the 18-year-old Wonderful from Sprout. Many fans were concerned about this transfer. On the one hand, Igor had very good stats, but on the other, by the time he joined NAVI, he had only 12 maps against top 10 HLTV teams. Explaining his choice, Andre said that his age was the decisive factor in favor of Wonderful. "If I signed a 25-year-old sniper, I wouldn't know what I'd be getting. I wouldn't know who taught him to play CS. But Igor is just 18. This is a critical moment because I can teach him new things and help him break bad habits. If needed, I can even get him to rethink his entire playstyle." With Wonderful joining to replace Simple, there's been a symbolic but significant shift in NAVI's lineup. Now, all 5 players have been personally selected and signed by Blade, making NAVI as personal a project as it gets for him. And so, what are we seeing? Well, despite the mixed results,
Дорогие друзья, Нави покидают Даллас.
Честно говоря, я не ожидал 2-0.
the team assembled by Blade reached #1 of HLTV and won the major.
And they know it now. They all know it now. The best moment of the rest of their lives is about to come through. And there's the killing blow. NAVI's highest height in years. And the gamble of taking breakout players from Paris and molding them in their image pays off.
Andre Blade truly is a one-of-a-kind coach. He handpicked and made 2 different lineups work, each of which went on to become world champions, and actually in 2 different games. So guys, if you're interested in a full biographical video about Blade's career, let us know in the comments. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on the best esports content. See you in the next one.